And race number 3 now lines up as follows. It's a Class 4, 1650 metres. Ready Player 1 has his second start for Jamie Richards. Wider draw for Fearless Fire. Gang of Brothers, a last start winner, carries an extra £4 for it. Riverview's gate 6 to gate 11. Telecom Cheetah, he's first up. Crossover noseband goes on. King of the Court, last start winner, carries an extra £4. Peak to Peak up in trip. Bell of Happiness scratched on the 15th of February, so his first run since January. And Packing Monkey King has placed at the distance as King of the Court rolls to the front again from the wide draw, Tom.
Yeah, well, it worked last time out when they applied those tactics, so no reason they wouldn't try them again. Gang of Brothers has got a bit more weight to carry here after that last start. So when Riverviews is normally handy, but he's got barrier 11. Fearless Fire goes forward, but he's got barrier 12. And to Peak, who's been terribly out of form, Paul, was actually slow away last start.
Yeah, so we'll see if where he ends up. I thought Baby will get a nice enough run. Ready Player 1, midfield, and Telecom Cheetah, who comes into the race fresh as well. He's gone forward in the past, Telecom Cheetah, but he generally goes back.
He went back in his previous trial up at Chungfar and was allowed to run home. But King of the Court, he went forward last time, and to find out if he's going to do that again, Nick spoke to his rider, Lyle Hewitson.
King of the Court, one of your rides on Thursday night. You've got a decent book of rides, and with him, he's a winner last time out. Did the job quite well.
Yeah, he did. The second section of that race, he got it quite cheaply and was able to sort of dictate at completely his own terms. So that definitely benefited him. And yeah, he went on to win a good race. But I just enjoyed the fact that it was his first time stepping up in trip, and yeah, he clearly got the distance. And although they were running on to come and get him, he wasn't lying down. He was tough to the line. So yeah, it was a win full of merit, and hopefully he can continue in that vein of form.
He did a really good job from an outside draw as well. And I guess the fact that you mentioned he was able to dictate, that certainly played into his strengths against the others. Yeah,
especially considering how the race shaped out. But fortunately, I don't think he's a horse that is necessarily just the leader. His earlier form showed that preferred being a bit further back and coming with a strong run. So at least he's got a bit of tactical versatility, which is always a bonus.
He's in 10, so I guess if you did want to go forward, you've got to try and replicate last time, but you're confident that he doesn't necessarily have to lead?
Yeah, I don't think he has to, but yeah, the draw doesn't help. You know, he would have loved an inside draw and have a cosy run just behind 1 or 2, but I think we're going to have to be a bit more affirmative from the gates on what we want to do. But with a good trip again, certainly capable. I think that his last win his rating was below his mark, so he probably still has a few in hand.
Interesting you say that, because he placed on his debut off of obviously the 52, which they come over on, so off of 46. He might just have 1 or 2 pounds up his sleeve, do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you, and there was some runs where he ran in the money and the form has worked out, so yeah, I think that when he gets it all right, he's certainly capable.
That is King of the Court. Our first replay, though, Paul, features Gang of Brothers, who dug deep to score last time. Still relatively lightly tried over the 1650 and gets a good draw.
He seems to work for him, Gang of Brothers. He's drawn nicely in barrier number 1, and he's going well. He's up in weight a little bit from this win, but I thought it was a strong win from him. I'm going to include it.
Yeah, I like the way he stretched his neck out late to get home and deliver here. He's one of 48 and 49 now. Just wonder when he gets up to this sort of rating, he might just struggle a little bit, so I left him out.
OK, his rating is 53 for Thursday night. V Chevalier, Tom, no stranger to Happy Valley. He's a 4-time course and distance winner. He has placed his last 2.
Yeah, and he's actually 11 points lower than his last win, V Chevalier. He is getting on in age, an 8-year-old by Ocean Park, but finished off quite well behind the 6th generation. Might have been a bit keen on the fence as well at parts down the back straight, so I think he's worth including here, the way he's going.
Yeah, and he's well rated, as you mentioned, just into the veteran stage. Look, and if there's any rain around, it might help his legs as well.
OK, V Chevalier that was. What about these two, Paul? We've got Fearless Fire, another no stranger to Happy Valley, and Ready Player 1 getting up the inside and running 3rd. He did trial behind Alacrity following this.
Yeah, and it was a nice trial, a nice run, I thought, here from Ready Player 1. He got the perfect run through on the inside. I'm going to include him on a minor line. He's just got to carry the big weight for him, and I'm worried about Fearless Fire from the draw.
Yeah, barrier 12. There's a bit of pace underneath him, so that's obviously the concern there where Luke Curry can get to him. But Ready Player 1, 50 days since he's had a run. He stayed on OK there. Mark mentioned the trial behind Alacrity there. He arrived off a rating of 68. He's down to 59 now.
Okay, that is at the toppy ready player one. But who do you like in race number 3, Paul?
Going to stick with King of the Court. I think once he stepped up and tripped there, he won really nicely and he stays in the grade. I think he can win again. V Chevalier is the well-rated horse, but getting on in age. Gang of Brothers, the last start winner, and Ready Player One. And he's good back down here in Class 4. 7, 8, 3, 1.
7, 8 and 1 I've gone with here, 7 on top. That is King of the Court, rated well off the front last time out and kept kicking and did get a little bit of a bump at the start, but didn't affect his momentum in the early stages. 8 goes in, that is V Chevalier. He's been consistent. 1 Ready Player One, and the other one I did put in was number 4 Baby, who should get a good run through from barrier number 4. Jimmy Ting and Derek Lung took off wider down the back straight, a little bit one pace, but he was a bit shorter in the market last time out, but did have a tough run from barrier 9. So 7, 8, 1 and 4.
That's the preview for race number 3. V Chevalier is the early favourite at 4.4.